Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be comparing fake Lego versus real Lego. Knocking Captain Marvel over. Okay, so in case you can't tell, the one on the right is real Lego and the one on the left is fake Lego. This is going to be the same for each figure that I talk about, just putting that out there. So, if we look at these, there's definitely some very obvious differences. Now, other than the fact that one's masked and one isn't, there's also these claws that have changed. The tone of the suit has changed. In fact, you know what, I'll just put on the mask for this figure and then we'll be right back. Okay, so now I've removed all the extra things. I've got to say that the Power Blast came for this figure. There was also a Power Blast for this figure, which works well. This Power Blast doesn't really work. But yeah, this came with the fake figure and doesn't really work. So, with these two figures, if I can pick this up and bring it a bit closer, you can see some subtle changes to both the suit design and also the printing that's used here. First thing that I wanted to mention is the legs. Now, for the official Lego figure, you can see that they use a base colour of red from the side, and then just have some front printing of blue, which isn't very good. And this was a complaint that a lot of people had with this figure, was how they made this bit look. Now, for the fake figure, you can see that even when I look at the side, I'll just remove the head, it's got this lovely printing that's going along. Now this also continues to the back of the figure, which if you look on the official figure, which is here, fake figure here, is definitely some changes. They've got some amazing printing on the back of this figure. And you know, I just want to take a moment to take this off and just show you that printing, because it's amazing. This is a style of printing that Lego would never do, having such detail, even doing the webs in the same colour as the suit, I think, maybe just a slight shade different. Get back to comparing. So the front torso printing, there's definitely some slight changes, as you can see. Obviously the shade of the red is different, but also this has a spider logo that's a little bit lower down on the torso compared to this one, which is much higher up. So yeah, the proportions are slightly different. The contrast is definitely a bit different. And if we look on the sides of these figures, you can see the arm printing, which is very similar to each other. Obviously they have slightly different styles, but they are both very similar, and I can't really decide which one I prefer. Now, again, if we look at the head printing, which is something that I have been dreading to look at, because these fake figures are never good for head printing, but the Lego figure has some amazing printing. I love this figure, other than the legs, as I mentioned. But this one here isn't bad, or at least not as bad as a lot of figures that I've seen. The subtle red printing is very nice. The eyes aren't too wonky compared to a lot of these figures. Now, there is a problem with the head, and that is if I turn it around, you can see it's got an alternate head, which if you then look at it from the back has this weird thing going on, whereas the original figure has just some more web printing, which is annoying for this figure, because if it didn't have this issue, I would definitely replace this with that in my displays. I would just take this entire figure, and when I'm doing a Marvel display, just use this figure because this is beautiful until the head, which really lets it down, but you know, it's not that much of an issue. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention, which was the main reason why I got this figure. So you see the backpacks have like this slightly different colour to each other, or not so slight colour. The fake figure on the left has this lovely gold piece, and these lovely like metallic gold pieces, which act as the legs. They obviously use a different style of leg to each other, which I don't mind, you know. I'm not really fussed by the version of gold that they use, and I'm not fussed about the build. I think this one is a bit stumpy, but it's also easier to play in pose, so I don't really mind. But this one, the main inconvenience with this is the fact that it's in black, and it just kind of ruins the design, especially from the front. You just see this random black line going through the neck, whereas with the gold, it still is a bit disrupting, but not as disrupting as just this random black backpack going on. So looking at this back printing, you can see that there is, again, a lot of changes just with the colours used. So there's a lot of changes with the colours used. There's a slight bit of wonkiness going on with this, only the tiniest amount, and it's barely noticeable, and you definitely can't tell with this back thing attached, so I don't mind that. Now with the official figure, I think that it looks nice. I think I prefer the printing style for this one, but I prefer this figure for the colours. Also, another thing that I noticed is the arm printing for this figure stretches around all the way to the back of the arms, whereas this one it just kind of stops here, which again, neither is bad, but it's just something that I've noticed. Now let's have a look at some of these other figures and compare them to each other. So now we have Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel. Now I just want to note that these two are different suits, however they are based on the same design, just with colour changes. So I'm not going to mention that, I am just going to mention the quality. Start off at the bottom, there's absolutely no leg printing for the official figure on the left, on the right. But if we look here, there is some amazing printing for the legs, which, again, I'm not going to bother turning that around, but if we look, this printing goes all the way round to the back, like it goes 360 around the leg, just like the Spider-Man figure, which is just amazing. Now, if we look at the torsos, again, there's not much of a difference. The detail is slightly improved here, you know, with all these different dots and things. However, I don't know if that necessarily makes it better. Again, just because of the colour changes and things, the suit does change slightly, so not really complaining about that. Now, again, arm printing. There's none on this official figure, but there's some beautiful arm printing for the fake figure. And one thing that I was really surprised about was side torso printing. This is a first for LEGO to include this, or like a first that I've seen. This just isn't something that LEGO would do because of it rubbing off when you move the arms and things. But it's included with this figure, which is just amazing. They use different hair pieces, which is neither here nor there. I know a lot of people said they wanted this hair, but I kind of like this hair that's used. But neither is bad, so I can't really talk about that. So if we remove these hair pieces, this one's just slightly a bit more stuck on, but you can see the back torso printing. Again, the design's changed, and I prefer the official figure for the back torso printing, but it's kind of covered up on the fake figure with this hair, so I don't really mind that much. Now, you can obviously see the face that they've decided to use is very different, and it's good, you know, having the glowing eyes is cool. The lips are slightly misprinted, but I don't mind that too much. And yeah, this one's got like this smiling expression, and then when we turn it around, they've both got the same face design, if I can get it to focus. However, the one on the left has a slightly darker skin tone, which I don't know is more accurate or less accurate, I don't really know. But they both look good, you know, neither of them are too bad. And that's just something that I wanted to mention, mainly the side torso printing, which was just amazing to see. Now, let's swap to the next figures, which is War Machine and War Machine. Now, these are both very different suits again. This one's from the Iron Man 3 sets, and this one is from, I think it's meant to be based on Avengers Endgame. I'm not too sure, however. And I did have a closer version of the Lego version to this. However, I think I've lost it somewhere. It was the Civil War version. But just to compare the basics, I think this one comes with the Power Blast, which I'll just take off now. Now, obviously, War Machine in recent days has had the cannon that he has, the stud shooter. The fake version didn't have the activation thing to make it work, so it's just kind of there. So there's no way to make this shoot, however, it's still a good bit of decoration, which I don't mind too much. I never really use the stud shooters. Now, I'm not really going to talk about this figure. It's an older figure. It's not very accurate to the suit that it's being based on, and printing has evolved a lot since then, so I'm just going to talk about this figure alone by itself. Now, looking at it, it's got this extra bulk, and that's because of an extra like torso attachment, which I'll show you a bit later, as well as the fact that here it's got some nice printing. This doesn't go down to the feet, like it isn't continuous, however there is a gap, and then it does do foot printing, which is nice. And there's no side leg printing, but there is back leg printing, which again was a surprise. I don't know why they didn't do side leg printing, but when you can like complain that there's no side leg printing on a figure this detailed, I think that's saying something really good about the quality of these, which again is very different depending on the figure that you get. I'll talk about that in the outro. With that, I do want to say that I lost the original head for this figure, so I can't really talk about that, because this is the official Lego head. The helmet for this figure is quite nice. There's slight misprint with black, but it's not too bad. You know, I don't really care about it, and I can just use my own head if I need to. Now, if you remove this, we can show you the back printing as well as the front printing of that, and then the figure uses just a regular like muscle printing, which isn't too bad, and then has some sidearm printing. It's a nice figure. I mainly just got it for this torso thing, to attach to my Civil War version if I can find that. However, this might just be the replacement for it. Now I will show you the next figure. So we have Deadpool from the movie and Deadpool from the comics. I can't really compare these two very well. This one is missing an attachment on the back, which was a brown sheath, which was comic book accurate. So again, I can't really do a side-by-side comparison. However, I will mention that these are very nice figures, and we'll take a look at the fake figure. Now, it has this gun, which is extremely accurate to just a military gun or a military rifle, which Lego just wouldn't do because they try and avoid that type of stuff. And if we look at the figure itself, it's got some really nice torso printing in a movie accurate dark red, and the printing does go down to the feet, if you can see that. There's no like special leg printing, side printing or anything, like there's nothing on the back. it's just a regular designed figure in like the style of printing. The arm print is quite nice, you know. There's just like a tactical design, more accurate to the movie, as well as the head isn't bad. Again, it's just a continuation of this design from the movie, continuation of the movie design. So yeah, it's a good figure. I probably won't replace it for this figure. I mainly just got it for parts. Yeah, there's not really much to talk about this figure. Now let's move on to the first big fig. So the first thing that I've got to mention is I can't get this to stand on the base plate for reasons I don't know. Again, official Lego on the left, on the right, I mean, this figure, and fake one on the left, which is this figure. Now, there is obviously the other two Thanos figures from Lego, which I just couldn't compare with this figure because they aren't very similar, and I thought this was the closest version using a similar colour scheme and obviously the design. Now, looking at this, you can definitely tell there's a lot more detail in this figure, and a lot of the detail that you can see is just like carved into it, like with the mould. It's got this Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones attached. You can't remove them, they're just painted on. And it's got some very nice printing. Now, I kind of showed you one of the major flaws with this figure compared to this one, which was released in 2015 and has a very nice design. Obviously, the printing has improved a lot since then. You know, the designs have changed, so just want to mention that. Now, it's got this nice designed helmet for the fake figure, which was the main reason I got this, as well as the Infinity Gauntlet. But the head, Thanos, you good? Like, if, oh yeah, it gets stuck. I can't remove it from the head. I'm probably gonna have to get a pair of pliers or something. But Jesus Christ, how do they fuck up the printing that much? This helmet is removable, by the way. It's not a single part of this. It's just I can't remove it at the moment because I need a pair of pliers. I'll have to go find them. But I just get confused by this. He's got like a 7 head, like, because his head goes all the way up to just past this like line here. This would have been an amazing figure if the face printing was like good. I'm just like, how? So yeah, I'm gonna have to remove that in a little bit, and I'm gonna see if it will work with the Thanos coming out in the Compound Battle set. I'm not too sure if it will, but I'm gonna try, see if it works. There's no like studs or anything, it's just the design. But yeah, what the hell's going on there? Now, this is a completely original figure. The Lego has never done before, which I wish they did do, which was why I got this figure. Here we have the Lizard. I think this is just a comic book version or based off of the games. However, there's definitely some problems which I'm gonna fix, such as the hands. You know, it's got this green here, but then if you look at the front, it's like he's wearing gloves or something. I don't really know what they're doing with that. They could have just given him green hands, and you know, this is a grey coat rather than white, which is a lot more accurate. And then if we look at the toes, you know, it's green, and then the front there, it's just, it doesn't feel completed to me. The head mold's nice, the head printing isn't too bad. He's got this lovely tail which can be removed. like that, and that leaves them with a butthole. And that just slides in. You can't adjust the tail or anything, which isn't too bad. The arms don't go all the way in, but that's not too bad. You can move the arms and hands. It's just a regular big fig. I'm definitely going to have to do my own improvements to this though. I got it just because it's this, you know. Let's set up a small display and I'll talk about everything. So here we have them all set up. I was meant to show you the Spider-Man head used. I haven't been able to remove the hair just yet, but it seems to be that there's no printing up there. It's just a nice-ish looking head. There's definitely something off of it, but nothing too major, and that goes with this Spider-Man hair. Now, just looking at these, they're good, you know? Some of them are really nice, some of them are really not nice. Not gonna name any names, but there's definitely some standout parts about each of these figures, such as the gold that's used on the Spider-Man, and being in an arguably more accurate colour, being this darker red. This one feels a bit more comic booky, and I don't mind it, you know, it's a good figure, but there's definitely some issues, as I said, with the printing and all of this stuff going on. There's also some figures at these fake Lego sellers that you can't find anywhere else, such as this lizard figure, and it's just kind of finding what you enjoy about them and if it's worth the price. Not all of these were from the same seller, but if you enjoy these like fake figures, get them. Just be picky about the ones that you get, because the plastic material that they use is definitely a lot worse. The quality of the printing, I don't think is always the best. Like, I feel like this can easily just rub off if it's played with for too long. So definitely be aware of that when you're buying them. But in a lot of cases, these are definitely a bit underrated, having these extra printing layers that Lego just wouldn't do, such as behind the leg and on the sides of the torso. Now, yeah, that's all I've really got to say about them. There's also, you know, all of these issues where the figures aren't good. I don't have any, because I just avoid them. Like, if it's got too many issues with it, then I just won't even use it for parts. So with things like the War Machine, I wasn't going to use it as the full figure, I was just going to use the torso attachment. And with the Spider-Man, I was originally going to use the entire figure, but then I realised the head, having the alternate head, I might not use it. I don't know, I might be able to get away with just having it like looking in a certain way and covering up the head. I don't really know how I'm going to do that. Because a lot of these situations it's better, but then in some, you know, there's a lot of misprints. I might use the Thanos gauntlet, and I was going to use the Thanos figure, but I'm not too sure about that now, kind of regretting it. But it was just an easy like purchase, you know. I wasn't entirely sure about what ones I was going to get, like when I went to the store, but these were just some of the standout ones that I liked the most. So let me know, what is your opinion on these fake Lego figures, and let me know if you've ever had any, and like how you'd review them, because I usually try and avoid them, but in certain situations, you know, they are a lot better than the figures. So yeah, that's all I've really got to say about these figures. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all of that usual stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.